Committee of Georges River Council. I declare the meeting open at 6:02 p.m. The Council acknowledges the traditional custodians of the land on which this meeting is being held as that of the Badigal people of the Eora Nation. Staff and public are reminded that this meeting is open and the meeting is being broadcast live to the public on Council's website in accordance with Section 4 of Council's Code of Meeting Practice. Only if the meeting moves into a closed confidential session in accordance with Section 13 of the Code of Meeting Practice will the public broadcasting of the meeting be suspended. Council's Code of Meeting Practice prohibits the electronic recordings of meetings without the express permission of Council. Apologies, I think we have everyone in attendance. Is that correct? We have no apologies for tonight?
I have no apologies, Madam Chair.
Yeah, I think everybody is there. So we'll move on to disclosures of interest. Do any councils have any interest to declare on any of the items on tonight's business paper? No. Okay. We'll move to the public participation on items on the agenda, and there are no registered speakers for tonight's meeting. So we'll move to the confirmation of minutes of the previous meetings. Now, all of the councillors in attendance on this committee were not present at the last committee meeting of the Finance and Governance Committee, so we will refer to the Director to confirm the minutes of the meeting on the 8th of November 2021 of the Finance and Governance Committee. So to the Director, can you confirm that those minutes are an accurate record of that meeting?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, I agree that they are a true and fair indication of what was discussed at that council committee meeting.
Okay, thank you to the Director. We do need to have a councillor to move that motion to adopt the minutes and to second that motion. So can I call for a mover and a seconder, please? Councillors. So Kevin's, he'll move it. Councillor Green, sorry. Councillor Symington, are you happy to second that?
Yeah, I'm happy to second that.
Thank you. Okay, so we'll put the motion that we adopt the minutes of the previous meeting of the Finance and Governance Committee held on Monday, the 8th of November 2021. Could the council staff go around to the councillors to take the vote on that, please?
Madam Chair, I'll start with your vote.
For the motion.
Councillor Green.
For.
Councillor Jamieson.
For, sorry.
Thank you. Councillor Marnie.
For.
Thank you. Councillor Symington.
For.
Thank you, Madam Chair. That's 5 votes.
5 to 4. So that motion is carried unanimously. So we move to the committee reports, and the first one is FIN 002-22, Administrative Matter, Execution of Documents under Delegated Authority between the period of the 1st of November 2021 and the 31st of January 2022. Can I have a mover and seconder for that report, please? Councillor Green, let's have to move it. I can't see. Councillor Symington, are you happy to second that as well?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you, Councillor Symington will second that. Councillors, is there any questions or discussions on this item?
Yes, I have a proposed amendment, Madam Chair.
Councillor Marnie, yes.
Okay.
Would you like to read your amendment?
Yeah, all right. Paragraph A is fine as it is. Council note for the period 1st November to 31st of January 2022, there were 4 documents executed by the General Manager and delegation. That's okay. The change I'd like to make, just for reasons of, I guess, transparency, is item B. So the current item B, I'd like to remove that, please.
Yeah, and do you want to read out the whole amendment first and then we'll call for a seconder?
Okay, so if item A stays the same, and the new item B, can I read that out?
Yes, please.
Item B is that each quarter a confidential report is presented to the Finance and Governance Committee, which outlines all of the premium commercial properties in the local government area, detailing for each property. Name of the property, the hirer or club that uses the property, So the hire or club, name of organisation with the agreement on that property, the portion of the facility that is being leased, the monthly revenue to council, and annual revenue to council.
Okay, do we have a seconder for that motion? Councillor Jamieson?
Oh, yeah, I'll second that.
Okay,
Madam Chair, oh, that's right. I just wanted to see that visually on the screen. Thank you.
should we'll give the minute taker a minute to put the amendment up?
Councillor
Can-
Green, Councillor Marnie, could you please repeat?
Yeah, sure. So item B. Thank you.
Thank you, sorry.
Thanks. That each quarter, a confidential report is presented to the Finance and Governance Committee which outlines all of the premium commercial properties in the local government area detailing for each property, and then colon, colon, just dot. Yep, and next line, and there's the dot points, I guess. Name of the property. Next one, the hire or club. The name of the organisation with the agreement on that property. Same line. The name of the organisation with the agreement on that property. Next line. Portion of the facility that is being leased. Next one. Monthly revenue to council. And the last one, annual revenue to council. Thank you.
Madam Chair, can I just ask a question on that, because there's a couple of points in there that I'm a little bit concerned about, where we've got portion of the facilities being leased, so we have to report that every quarter. What about if the portion of the facility doesn't change? Does Councillor Marnie still want the portion of the facility that's being leased, or is the first time and the only time that we need to say that? The name of the organisation with the agreement on the property, that won't change from quarter to quarter. So does Councillor Marnie want us to continue to put down the agreement on the property and the organisation with the property? Monthly revenue, no problems. Annual revenue, no problems.
Yeah. Yes, Mr. Tuxford. I think the more information, the better.
Okay, so we are going to be very repetitive in the approach to this matter, I would understand, and I guess also, what do you class as a premium commercial property? Does that mean that Hurstville House across the road here, is that a premium commercial property? And does it mean that we have to list every lease that's within that premium commercial property, which is floor by floor by floor? How would you like us to report this?
Again, to me, it's ratepayer money, so I think the more information, the better.
But then we come into a commercial in confidence matter. I know you've got this as a confidential report,
Okay.
So when you say it's open, honest and transparent, the transparency is only going to council. It's not going to the community.
Yeah. I understand. Yeah. Okay.
So would it be far better if we just put what the bulk?
Excuse me, Director, Madam Chair, may I suggest that we just amend the quarterly reporting in Council's commercial property report that is already submitted to Finance and Governance once a quarter. I think it may be more efficient if we review the details that are provided in the quarterly commercial property report. And if Councillor Marnie thinks that there's additional information that needs to be included in that, perhaps it would be best to amend the report that is already going up publicly every quarter, detailing our commercial property arrangements. I think this is a significant overlap of the reporting that the staff are already doing and will have fairly significant resourcing implications.
Could I just ask something? So if this information is already provided in the quarterly, what's the difference? So what were you saying is the difference, David, between what's already being reported every quarter?
We're not, through you, Madam Chair, we're not putting down what the agreement on the property is. So we're not certainly disclosing that in the public part of our council meeting, because again, that is commercial in confidence, that information. Hire of the club, again, we seem to be going through between premium commercial properties. We're going, the difference is commercial properties and one's premium facilities. Totally different kettle of fish. One is commercial properties, one is premium facilities. The General Manager is right that we also do produce a report on premium facilities as well and what their revenue and expenses are on a quarterly basis, and it's the same as what we do with the commercial properties, but they are two different beasts. They're not the same. They're not the same entity, I guess, that we're dealing with.
Mr. Director, sorry, could I ask a question? Could you
Sure.
please give example of the premium facilities? Because perhaps this amendment from Councillor Money could be amended for that word instead if it satisfies it.
Sure. Premium facilities is Cogra Jubilee Stadium. Commercial properties is Hurstville House across the road here. That's a quick example. We also report on our revenue that we receive from our commercial car parking business. But again, that's not premium. It's a commercial car parking business. It's emphasis on commercial. So there's two different, this is an amalgam of two different portfolios that we deal with the council. One is premium facilities and one is commercial properties.
So, Councillor Marnie, would you be happy to amend the motion, your amendment to say premium facilities in the local government area, which I assume would cover things like Cogra Jubilee, your aquatic centres, golf courses, Norman Hill Cricket Centre, things like that?
You are correct.
Yes, thank you. It would be, include the premium properties as per the agenda.
The premium facility?
I didn't understand that. Which agenda?
The agenda of this committee meeting, the premium property report.
So is it premium facilities or is it commercial properties? I've still lost.
Could I just ask Councillor Borg, clarify with Councillor Borg on that?
Yeah, I don't believe that the commercial properties are reported on this report, so yeah. I think we go with premium facilities. I think that would probably satisfy what you're hoping to obtain in terms of information there about the large premium facilities that are rented out commercially.
Yeah, that's fine with me. Thank you.
Okay, so we have an amendment from Councillor Marnie that's been seconded by...
Madam Chair, can I just ask a question?
Sure. Yep.
Yeah, sorry, I'm concerned that the amendment seems to fly in the face of the original recommendation. The section B, which is no longer on the screen, obviously, actually was requesting to try and literally lighten the load so as to free up ratepayer money, so as we weren't using resources on something that didn't need to be over-resourced. Is that, and I ask that through you, Madam Chair, to the Director, because this amendment, as I say, seems to fly in the face of that and require additional resources. So we're actually going against the original intent, but maybe I'm misinterpreting that to the Director.
To the Director.
Through you, Madam Chair, look, I do agree with that this does take a lot of time and a lot of resourcing. So that was why I was trying to get some clarification, because I needed to know in my own mind what we actually had to produce, because we are already producing a number of these reports on a quarterly basis to Council.
Can I just clarify then again, my recollection, and certainly looking at this quarterly report, there's indications, for instance, on the reduction in revenues from facilities such as Cogra's Jubilee Oval and also the Johnny Warren Centre and HALP because of COVID, etc. So that's pretty well covered already, and certainly in a lot of the other facilities are licensed arrangements, so they won't change. Is that again fair comment, Director?
Through you, Madam Chair, yes, that is a fair comment by Councillor Green.
So, sorry, could I ask then, so is it each quarter, if it's the same documents, is it really taking that much time to do, or is it just because you have to do it once? And so I'm just a bit confused as to what's going on. Does that sound?
Question to the Director.
Well, again, through you, Madam Chair, is my understanding of what's in front of me is not exactly what we are actually producing at the moment, and that's why I supported the comments of the General Manager, and that is, why don't we put up what we are currently doing that has been operating now for several years, which is been well accepted by Council and certainly the community, which gives a clear indication of majority of those things. It just separates what is commercial and what is premium.
Sorry, so can I get this understanding? You're already redoing this report anyway?
Not through you, Madam Chair, not this report that I'm being asked for, because there is nothing known to me as premium commercial properties. We have premium properties and we have commercial properties. So premium commercial properties does not make does not give me a clear indication of what Councillor Marnie's after.
Councillor Marnie, are you prepared to move the amendment to your amendment to change it from premium commercial properties to the description of premium facilities, which I think does give the Director a clear indication of what you're after?
Yes, I am, and my intention is just to highlight the fact that the significant incomes to Council, and I think that, ratepayers should be able to access that fairly easily, just, particularly on these premium properties. That's my intent.
Sorry, again, can I just clarify, recognising that what you're requesting is a confidential report, so it won't be going to ratepayers. Is that correct to the Director?
Through you, Madam Chair, that is correct, and that was another point that I raised, is that if it's going to be confidential, because of the nature of what is being requested, it won't go to the ratepayers because of its confidential nature.
Yeah. Sorry, to expand on that or clarify, it's just that it is significant, financial item, and I just think the more information that comes to the Council is the better.
Yeah. Through you, Madam Chair, I'm happy for it to go to Council, but it can't certainly be used to go to our ratepayers, because, as I say, the commercial confidence nature of the request.
Madam Chair, can I just trying to get through this, recognising that there's been some uncertainty around what was actually being requested in the amendment, and also recognising that, as has been stated by the Director, there is a report that comes out. Can I just ask Councillor Marnie if he's prepared to consider literally sitting on this for a period of time, 6 months or so, so as you can see what reports are presented over that period, and then if those reports are not meeting your requirements, then we can revisit this issue. I just think at this stage, being the first committee meeting, the first presentation, that until there's a greater understanding of the depth of the quantity of work, firstly, that's put into producing these reports, and certainly the information, much of which I think of what Councillor Marnie is requesting has already been indicated is provided, the majority of which in a public document, I might add, that if he's prepared to consider it, I'm more than happy to support looking at this again in 6 months. But in the current format, I really think we're just, running off somewhere that we don't need to go at this stage, and it will be resource intensive from what the director's saying. Councillor Marnie, you prepared to leave that for 6 months or so?
With respect, Councillor Green, no, I think the earlier it's implemented, the better.
But
Okay, I think
sorry, just to clarify that. So you're comfortable now that the information that is currently provided, which you don't seem to understand what that is, but that's okay, that information will be provided in a new and more extensive format and given confidentially, so that the ratepayers who currently get information in a public document will no longer receive that, because it will now be put behind a confidential document. That's all I'm trying to clarify for you.
Can I just ask a question to the director there? This motion doesn't infer that the other report ceases, so I'm not sure that that would have that effect. If the director could clarify, please.
Through you, Madam Chair, I would have thought that what's being requested here by Councillor Marnie would supersede the other report, because it really is the same report, except for confidential information that would be put in that report, which is about the agreement on that property, which, as I said, is commercial in confidence.
Well, can I ask a question, Mr. Director? Does the council report on the premium facilities and what revenue they return to council by each property?
By each property, yes, it does. Not to the extent where we're looking at portion of the facility, like the St George Dragons, who place several home games out of Cogra Jubilee Stadium. They lease the whole facility. It's not just portion of the facility, so that one wouldn't be a problem. But there may be some others who lease different components of a property, which, again, I'm not suggesting that
and so
that we can't do that.
But what's the name of that report that details by property?
Well, through you, Madam Chair, we give out a report on a quarterly basis, which gives council and the community the income that we're receiving on our commercial properties. We talk about our car parking. We talk about our commercial properties, such as Hurstville House. We talk about our properties down in Cogra and other shops and so on that we've purchased over the years and still have in our ownership, that their income is also reported in that quarterly.
And just for clarification, is that, because it is a public report, is that detailed as a total lump sum generated from all the properties listed without itemising out the amount of property?
No, Madam Chair, not a total lump sum. It is in categories. So car parking is a separate category, commercial property is a separate category, and that report also contains how many properties are currently unleased. So it also then gives council an indication of any commercial properties that may be not tenanted at this stage.
Okay, well, I'm familiar with that report that you're referring to, and I don't believe it does provide this level of detail. That I understand that this is not a public report, but I do believe councillors should be able to be aware of the premium facilities, because they're large assets in the local government area, of how much each asset is generating in income to the council just for the premium facilities. And I think that the other report that you referred to is a separate report. It's contains a huge amount more different types of properties, and I feel that this is a separate report purely on the premium facilities. So we have a mover, which is Councillor Marnie for the amendment, and a seconder.
And could I please, it's me, Catrice. Could I please
Hello,
come
Mr.
in?
Mayor. Please.
Can I just please in on this? It seems to me there's a bit of confusion between what we've provided, what is being provided every quarter to the director, and what Councillor Marnie is requesting here. I'm just wondering if Councillor Marnie might consider. Let's defer this to a workshop so we can see what we're actually being given, what comes to us every quarter, and what we need to add to it. And I'm not talking in 6 months' time. I'm talking a workshop, within the next 4 or 5 weeks. If we're aiming to get what we want in terms of information that we can distill to the community, and the director's telling us that we've already got that information, isn't it better that we actually discuss this over a workshop and where the director can show us an example of what is being provided and how much more we need to add to it? I put that to you. That's it.
To Councillor Marnie.
Yeah, Councillor Catrice, thanks for that. Look, I really believe that we don't need to go to a workshop for this. It's fairly, to me at least, it's fairly explanatory now that we've got the premium commercial properties covered. And
we need to change that to premium facilities, I believe.
Yeah, sorry, that was
the minute taker could update that, please.
Yeah, sorry, premium facilities, and I just believe that anything of high value should be brought to council's attention as soon as possible.
Sorry, to the director, can I just ask? My recollection is we provide every year and indeed every quarter, and the last 2 years have been a poor example because our premium facilities have obviously been underutilised, but you already provide a report on the income we receive from HALC. Am I dreaming that, Director?
Through you, Madam Chair, Councillor Green is not dreaming. He is 100% correct. But again, there is details within the dot points that we don't certainly report. But if we're talking about this going, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, just to clarify that. So we don't actually have the breakup between what the income is from basketball, what the income is from badminton, what the income is from table tennis, what the income is from swimming lessons, what the income is from casual pool users. But we do know that at the end of each quarter, and indeed at the end of each year, there's a certain figure which I won't quote at the moment because it's going to be different at the moment because of COVID. But we know what the major figure is, but we don't know how much table tennis, for instance, is paying.
Through you, Madam Chair, again, that is correct, Councillor Green.
And is that reported to councillors confidentially?
Through you, Madam Chair, that is not reported to council because council has never requested. They needed to know what indoor soccer, indoor cricket, basketball, badminton, swimming lessons and so on, what sort of income that's...
Sorry, but the report that Councillor Green referred to in general, is that reported to councillors confidentially for each of the premium facilities?
No, it's not.
It's not. Okay.
No.
That's a public report.
That details the revenue per premium property to council.
That's correct.
Sorry, I just wanted to check. So we actually sublease, or is it whoever's managing the property subleases, like to basketball, whatever? Is that actually council leasing it, or is it actually like in Hurstville Bluefit? Just so I understand.
Yeah, hire it. Yeah.
Right. So I don't think, are we going to go to level who's hiring it? I think it was more about premium facilities and how council's getting the money. So, and I think
well, in that case,
sorry.
In that case, that figure is provided.
Can I just say a procedural, like a process thing here? If a councillor wishes to speak, can they go through the chair to the other councillor or to the director? That's what I've been used to as a councillor, and I think if we just could keep doing that, that would be appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Symington. To the director, a question: is the report that you refer to, that is, you're saying is publicly available, not the one you referred to one before, which gave us a summary of the commercial properties and different types of properties in the commercial portfolio. Does that itemise by premium facility what each one returns to council in revenue in total, not breaking down the portion of each facility?
Through you, Madam Chair, yes, it does, and that's what concerns me is Councillor Marnie has put in hirer or club. So does that mean that every club that uses that premium facility has to be reported as a separate entity? And that's what I'm trying to understand and ascertain whether that's the case or not.
Okay. Councillor Marnie, yes, Mr. Mayor.
Back in again. Look, there seems to be a lot of detailed questions as to what the council's providing. We're trying to establish here in this, what do you call it, in this venue, if you like, in this forum, as to what is the council providing and what is the difference between the two. I still believe that there's going to be a lot of value to be gained if we defer this whole situation to a briefing session or a workshop, where the director is given the opportunity to indicate this is what you're getting, what else do you want over on top of that? I think that if you're going to try and, how can I define the animal that we're trying to deal with now in this thing without having this in front of you, you're doing the whole motion an injustice. So, in view of the fact, I don't want to do this, but I think it's something that's going to, that you're all going to gain from. I will move an amendment that this part B, moved by Councillor Marnie, to be deferred to a workshop where the council is provided with all the necessary information with regards to the premium facilities. If we try to establish it here now,
Councillor Marnie,
something else comes up and says, "Oh, we're getting it anyway." I really feel you should think about this as a better, and maybe we can have this this workshop earlier than later. And I'm not saying 6 months. I'm saying maybe within 4 weeks. If we can wait 4 weeks, we'll have that information before us, and we'll be able to make the right decision and an informed decision. Here, I don't know. On the one case, we're talking the difference between premium facilities and premium buildings. In another case, we're saying that we've already got that in the commercial building. And then there's these multitude of questions which are asking what is being provided. So I will move that it be deferred to a Councillor Marnie's amendment to be deferred to a future, and I'm not sure if I can do this. I'll stand corrected by the general manager or the director, that it be deferred to a workshop.
Councillor Marnie, are you happy to accept that amendment from Councillor the Mayor Catras?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Catras. I agree, and yeah, I think we should now defer to a workshop.
Madam Chair, if I could just provide some procedural.
Councillor Marnie, you accept a workshop based on your motion?
Yes, thank you. I guess on the proviso, it's held as soon as possible.
Sorry, I can't hear you. It's muted. You're muted.
Yep.
No. To the general manager, I think, had a comment.
Yeah, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, the matter that's on the business paper is an administrative matter regarding documents under delegated authority. So the committee needs to be careful to move a lawful motion. The motion must relate to the business that's been published. What I suggest that the solution to this is for Councillor Marnie to lodge a notice of motion so the matter can be debated at the council meeting. Otherwise, the committee is limited to only discussing, only making a resolution that relates to the businesses published. The businesses published is a list of delegated documents. What Councillor Marnie is seeking is something quite different to the business that has been published on the paper. So my recommendation is that he lodges a question with notice or a notice of motion at the council meeting, and then it can be dealt with in a lawful manner.
Okay, thank you to the General Manager. So are you saying that the item B cannot be that a workshop is held for a future councillor briefing on this report? Are you saying that can't be included?
Madam Chair, I understand that the briefing is going to be held on confidential premium facilities, and this report does not relate to confidential premium facilities. It relates to administration of the execution of documents. So we really are speaking at cross purposes. My suggestion is that Councillor Marnie moves the motion, which was just originally Part A, and then separately lodges a question with notice or a notice of motion. And I will remind councillors that there is a variety of mechanisms we use to advise councillors of information. That includes the Councillor Information Bulletin, as well as confidential and public reports to council. So most of what Councillor Marnie is requesting is made available to councillors in one format or another, and I'm sure the staff could pull together the information that it requires out of those various sources. But in the meantime, I think in order to make this motion lawful, you probably just need to confine yourselves to the motion as Part A, if that's what the committee is of a view to vote on. Otherwise, you revert to the officer's recommendation and start again. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you, General Manager. So, Councillor Marnie, are you? Yes. Ms. Mayor Ketras, yes.
Mr. Chair, again, I think the other thing, and I direct this question to the General Manager, I think the other thing that the councillors are going to need is, especially the new councillors, what is it that's being reported on a quarterly basis? So would you suggest that comes in the form of a question on notice and a notice of motion?
Through you, Madam Chair, I'm happy to take this offline and discuss with Councillor Marnie the best format to request this information, and also provide all councillors with advice as to where most of this information can already be obtained.
Okay, all right. So we'll thank you to the General Manager. So, Councillor Marnie, are you prepared to move the original recommendation with Part A only, with Part B being removed?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. And thank you, Ms. Connolly.
And Councillor Jamieson, are you happy to second that motion? Yeah, okay. Well, we have the motion. We'll put the motion and I'll go to the staff, please, to go around the room and take the votes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll start with your vote.
I'm for the motion.
For the motion. Councillor Green.
Yeah, for.
Thank you. Councillor Jamieson.
For.
Thank you. Councillor Marnie.
For.
Councillor Symington.
For.
Mayor Ketras.
For.
Thank you.
Declare that carried. Okay, so we move to the next item, which is FIN 003-22, which is the Audit, Risk and Improvement Committee, minutes of the meeting held on the 15th of October, financial statements review. Can I have a mover and a seconder for that item, please?
I'll move that item, Madam Chair.
Councillor Symington. Can we have a seconder? Councillor Green has put his hand up to second that. Councillors, is there any questions or discussions on this item? No? Okay, we'll put the item. If we could take the votes again, please.
Start with your vote, Madam Chair.
For the motion.
Thank you. Councillor Green.
For.
Thank you. Councillor Jamieson.
For.
Thank you. Councillor Marnie.
For.
Thank you. Mayor Ketras.
For.
Thank you.
I will declare that carried. And the next item is FIN 004-22. It's the amendment to the 2021-22 fees and charges. We have a recommendation from the council officers that council adopt the proposed changes to the 2021-22 fees and charges as outlined in the report. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Someone moved Councillor Symington, seconded Councillor Green. Any questions or discussion, councillors? No? Okay, we'll put that motion. Council officers could take the vote again, please.
Sure. Madam Chair, I'll start with your vote.
For the motion.
Thank you. Councillor Green.
For.
Councillor Jamieson.
For.
Councillor Marnie.
For.
Councillor Symington.
For.
Mayor Catras.
For.
Thank you. That's 6 votes.
So that motion carried. Thank you. Next item is the, just correct me if I'm wrong, we just did the investment report, didn't we?
No, this is the investment
We're
report,
up to the
Madam
investment
Chair.
report. Sorry, thank
Yep.
you. I'm looking at another screen. So item FIN 005-22, the investment report as of the 31st of October, 30th of November 2021 and 31st of December 2021. So the recommendation is the council receives and notes that report. If I could please have a mover and a seconder, councillors.
I'll move it, Madam Chair.
Mayor Catras has moved it.
I'll second it, Madam Chair.
Councillor Symington has seconded it. Is there any discussion? Any discussion, councillors? No. Okay, we'll take the votes if we can, please.
Sure. Madam Chair, start with your
For the
vote.
motion, yeah.
For the motion, thank you. Councillor Green.
For.
For the motion, thank you. Councillor Jamieson.
For.
For the motion, thank you. Councillor Marnie.
For.
For, thank you. Councillor Symington.
For.
Thank you. And Mayor Catras. Mayor Catras.
For.
Thank you. That's 6 votes for.
Thank you. I declare that motion carried. The next item is FIN 006-22, the quarterly budget review for the period ended 31st of December 2021. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please, councillors? Councillor Green is happy to move it. Thank you, Councillor Green. Can I have a seconder, please?
I'll second it.
Oh, Councillor Jamieson is seconded. Thank you, Councillor Jamieson. So the recommendation is there on the screen. Is there any questions or discussion, councillors? No questions or discussions? I have a couple of questions, if I could ask of the director, if there's no other questions from councillors. Yep. Okay, so just on the operating expenditure, the financial quarterly performance, it says item 21, employee costs are currently $1 million above budget due to the $1.7 million being paid out in redundancy related costs due to the assets and infrastructure restructure. So my questions are, were councillors aware of the restructure and the redundancies? To the director.
Through you, Madam Chair, I would have to take that question on notice. I haven't spoken to councillors personally about it, but this is part of the reform process of council, and these redundancies were not forced redundancies. These redundancies were voluntary redundancies. So again, I would have to take that question on notice.
Okay, thank you. And just two other questions was how many people were made redundant and what impact will it have on the services and frontline workers?
Through you, Madam Chair, again, I can just give you a bit of an overview, but my understanding is that it has no effect on the operations of our council, but certainly what has affected the operations of council more than the redundancies is COVID-19. So, you know, we have a situation where we know that our service isn't where it should be because of COVID-19, but the service decrease can't be associated with any redundancies.
Okay, thank you. Just one other question was in regards to the proposed budgetary changes, the Q2 proposed budgetary changes. And it says that the carryover of the local roads and community infrastructure grant of $1.4 million will contribute to the following capital projects, of which there's 5 listed there: the Edgbaston Reserve Public Amenities Block, pedestrian bridge of Beverley Park, stormwater channel, Hurstville Oval Pavilion, Hurstville Golf Course new clubhouse, and Mortdale Shopping Centre upgrade. I just wanted to know, did councils make the decision to allocate the local roads and community infrastructure grant funding to these projects?
Through you, Madam Chair, that I understand that is the case, that council were aware of the fact that we received this grant and the allocation of those funds, where they were going to be allocated to. But again, if you like, I can take that question on notice and just reassure council that I've got that answer right.
Thank you to the director. That would be great. Thank you very much. Councillors, was there any other questions on the quarterly budget review? If not, we'll put the motion. It's been moved by Councillor Green and seconded by Councillor Jamieson. And if the staff could take the vote, please.
Sure, thank you. Madam Chair, your vote?
I'm for the motion.
Thank you, that's 4. Councillor Green? For the motion. Councillor Jamieson?
For.
Thank you. Councillor Marnie?
Against.
Against. Councillor Symington?
For.
For the motion. Mayor Catras?
Mayor Catras still there? Does anybody know?
I think he's gone.
I think he's gone. Okay, that's 4 votes for and 1 against.
Okay, thank you. I declare that carried. And there being no further business on the agenda, I declare the meeting closed at 6:49 p.m. Thank you,
Well done.
councillors and staff.
Well done, Madam Chair.
Thank
See
you.
you next meeting.
You did
Thank
well.
you.